This is TWiT.
It's here. My invitation came, and you know, it's really great. The art is really fantastic. Each invitation handcrafted, uniquely, one of a kind, and inside it says, to talk about our stuff, Apple LLC. That's a little suspicious.
Registered in Delaware for the tax.
It's phishing. It's phishing, Leo. Be careful.
Renee, do you have yours? You can show it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm guessing they made like 400 of these, and I'm guessing they were all handcrafted by Serenity Caldwell. That's my best guess.
And I would, you know, as a guess, since we kind of pretty much know that the event is going to be an iPad event, I would guess these were all created on an iPad, right? That's the idea. In Procreate or something like that. There's more in the making. There's Neil Seibart's. Here's Todd Hazelton's. Oh, yours is fiery and beautiful.
I think I got one of the better ones, to be honest with you. It looks very pencil made.
So everybody got a different one. Lance, you off.
Is there a Charizard in there somewhere?
I think there was one. There was also a SpongeBob one, right? I think.
Was there?
It was amazing. Yeah.
And the final count is
posted 300. Yeah.
There's 400 different ones.
CNN posted 370. I've been led to believe we haven't seen them all yet, so there'll probably be some at the event. But I'm guessing there'll be over 400.
Is the thinking that each journalist got a different one?
Yeah, for sure. Each journalist got a different one. Absolutely.
There was no repetition.
No.
Wow. They're all emailed, by the way. None of them are printed, which is a shame because I think this would be a great printed.
I didn't get an invitation, so I have to ask how high resolution is it? Like, is it high enough resolution that you could conceivably print it up and put it on your wall, or create or collaborate on a set of like trading cards that we could all like collect and swap?
Oh, well, I mean, one year they gave out, they have given out things at events before. I mean, a couple of years ago, they gave out those little Apple Park pins when they opened the Steve Jobs Theater. So maybe they could make a deck of Apple art. That would be fantastic.
Pins would be
I would buy
so
the crap
cool.
out of that.
Or deck, yeah. I'm curious. So did they get, are these, you think, in-house, or did they go out and ask people to do these? Do we know?
They have an amazing graphics design team, but they're so busy doing so many things. Yeah. And 400 is like, again, I was joking. Serenity Caldwell did them all, and that's probably why she's been there for the last few months. But that's, you know, this would take several Serenity Caldwells working at capacity.
It is the kind of thing
to get up to 400.
Serenity would have done, right?
Damn these young people and their unbridled energy and ability to focus.
This is mine, but it's not real. If I presented this, I don't think I'd get in. It's okay because it's in New York. It's at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. Bam! There's some of the other ones. I like the Iron Filings one. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. There's some real cool ones.
BAM is a performance space, not just a school.
Yeah.
It's super interesting, right? Like, it's artistic invitations at a music venue for an iPad and Mac event.
Should we read the tea leaves or no?
No, they could. You know, there's so many schools down there. They could have just basically said to a class here, or to a design class, here's $100 to make us one Apple logo.
Right.
Because when I first heard about how differentiated these things were, I thought that'd be an interesting like AI project to essentially hand design, let's say 24, and then tell an AI to make 20 in each of these classes, or 10 in each of these classes of things that we've handmade, and make variations. But there's such wide variations that it really does feel like there's a human being. You know, there's meatware involved in creating these things. And if anything, it got us. I think it's maybe this is just the Apple marketing's final revenge against people trying to read the tea leaves of, okay, so half of it looks like it's Chrome, but the light source isn't on the upper left. The light source looks like it's sort of like a ring light. So maybe we're talking about they're going to be announcing a brand new iMovie feature. Like, okay, here, tell you what, here are 400 different invitations to each individually scrutinize. You'll have content for 3 weeks after the event.
Of course, Apple doesn't say what the event's going to be, and there's more in the making, doesn't really tell us much. But back in August, we saw a couple of icons in iOS 12 that implied a bezel-less iPad. We've since seen more, no home button. So the expectation, what's interesting is, have there been supply chain leaks on these at all?
I haven't seen
Not that I remember. No.
Really well kept secret compared to, say, Google's Pixel 3 phone.
Well, those are different. I mean, like sorry, go ahead, Andy.
No, I was going to say, even based on Apple events, usually by this time we would have seen something, because at some point they have to shrug and say, okay, now the untrustworthy brothers-in-law of people that we actually trust have to know about this. So we're gonna accept that someone's going to have a bezel, or someone's going to have a good rendering somewhere. So
what follows is complete speculation. There's not.
So I think the big difference here is that iPhone and Samsung Galaxy phones are where all the money is, even for accessory makers, and they will pay, beg, cheat, borrow, blackmail, anything they can to get information out of the supply chain that will let them get product ready as fast as possible when a new phone launches. The Pixel does not sell in that. I mean, it's got huge mind share, but it doesn't sell in high quantities, so there's probably not as much incentive for supply chain leaks. And iPads, I mean, there have been leaks over the years, but probably also, like, the case of the industry is probably not slathering at the bit to get. I mean, it's business for them, but it's nowhere near Galaxy or iPhone business for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
To say nothing of investor interest, if you can figure out ahead of time that the new iPad is definitely going to require the same sort of camera setup for Face ID as the iPhones, that gets you scrambling towards seeing who might be supplying that new camera and what's their position right now. So yeah, that's a really good point, Renee. There's a lot of commercial interest as opposed to just like nerd interest that we have in getting things early.
Our source from the supply chain, Ming-Chi Kuo, has merely said he expects a bezel-less iPad Pro with Face ID and an 11-inch model to replace the 10.5-inch model, which is about 18 months old, and a 12.9-inch bezel-less model. Does that comport, you think, with what?
Yeah, I mean, so what they're basically going to keep the 10.9-inch iPad casing the same and fill it with more screen. With the 12.9, they're going to keep the screen the same size and chisel off some of the casing.
Oh, interesting. So the 12.9 is so big anyway, it would be nice to make it a little smaller.
Make it more portable.
Yeah. Okay. But so you get the same size screen. That makes sense, yeah?
Yeah, but the fact that they still have a smaller, physically smaller device that could have pretty much the same size display, it would be an interesting opportunity for them to continue to make a 12.9-inch iPad Pro that is almost explicitly, look, for you people who are designers, who are movie editors, who are photo people, given that they've already been so happy to announce a quote real unquote version of Photoshop releasing next year, wouldn't it be cool to have a 12.9-inch physical 12.9-inch iPad that has the screen of, let's say, a 15-inch screen, that much more real estate to play upon, much more places to put things like toolbars and other stuff like that. So I wouldn't necessarily think that their idea would be to have the bigger iPad smaller but with the same size screen. It's if anything, all these Microsoft Surface devices have kind of shown designers that it's kind of cool to be able to use that wonderful pencil on a larger canvas instead of a smaller one.
With the narrower bezels, you lose the home button. That means Face ID. Face ID does not work, at least now, in a sideways mode. So
it should for iPad.
You think it will?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was a weird rumor that the Smart connector would be on the same edge as the Lightning connector is on the short edge.
That might be the pencil connector.
I can't imagine you wanting to use your iPad. I hardly ever use it in portrait mode.
Remember the original keyboard dock, though? They wanted you to do that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
how
do you guys use your iPad in landscape mode mostly?
It depends. I use it in portrait mode. I'm reading, and I use it in landscape mode. I'm working.
Yeah,
so I do like to have that. I do like to have that choice.
Then here's a really weird
comic book
one.
and everything else mode.
And Seth Weintraub of 9 to 5 mentioned this Sunday on TWiT. He said, because we've seen rumors that there will be a USB-C connector instead of a Lightning connector. He said he thinks there'll be both.
Because, yeah, I don't think that's silly because they certainly do have enough room to put both in there. And although I think that it's natural for them to switch to USB-C wherever they can in the future, that leaves the problem of are you gonna force people to have a dongle? Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of
and plus the idea of being able to have power plus another accessory. If Apple really, everything I hear about internally at Apple is they are very, very excited about the Pro capabilities of the iPad to really now just, whereas before they were content to sort of hint that this thing could be a replacement for a notebook, and it's certainly competitive against any Windows notebook less than $800 or $900. Now they really know what they've got there with the processor and with the audience that they've already got in there. So the ability to be able to say, well, now we're giving you 2 ports because you might want to keep one powered up while you've got the other one attached to, let's say, an audio accessory or a video accessory. I'm not 100% behind this idea of it having 2 ports because Apple seems like a company that would try to reduce it to 1, but I don't think it's a ridiculous idea.
Well, they did, right? The original one had 2 dock ports, and Steve axed it at the last minute. So,
what do you think, Renee?
Well, so I was watching the Pixel Slate event, and there is nothing I want less in a tablet than Intel. But when the minute I saw those USB-C ports, it makes so much sense. 1 on each side. Let me just put it in computer mode, plug that in, give me the backlit keyboard too while you're at it, and I will be super happy. Like you said, I don't know if Apple will do 2 ports just because why do 2 ports when you can do 1? But I would so much prefer it.
Yeah, it would give you all sorts of flexibility, and it would confirm. And this is what Seth said. He said he really thinks that this is going to be designed to work with a keyboard and a mouse, that it's going to be a computer screen.
I don't see a mouse app.
Seth's staff would have found all the strings for mouse already in the.
Yeah,
Guillermo Rambo would have found all that.
Yeah. And it could be, as you mentioned earlier, that Type-C rumor merely means a Type-C power adapter with a Type-C to Lightning cable. Some people were thinking maybe that's what that rumor is. Sometimes this stuff gets mangled in translation.
Also, if they do, Apple wouldn't do a USB-C port that's just for power. They would make sure that it could do as much as they could possibly make the thing do. So again, the kind of speculation that you're allowed to engage in when you're a pundit and it's still a week before release date, it would excite me to have the idea of a USB-C port on an iPad Pro, thinking that perhaps they decided to future-proof the platform this way, saying that, guess what? You said that a lot of your podcasters, a lot of your audio engineers who want like really good audio gear, guess what? Here's a full USB-C port, and here's an API and a new stack for you. So you can create a professional level audio recording rig that goes around the iPad Pro. Could you imagine even the idea of an iPad Pro with the ability for to have like a live external display through USB-C through Thunderbolt and not through like a Lightning port adapter? So there'd be a lot of possibilities. And again, the vibe that I consistently get from Apple about how they realize they're selling $1,000 computer device, and they are insisting that it will do anything that any other $1,000 computer device will do. So that's very consistent. It's exciting.
Any chance that the Mini will be rejuvenated?
Ming-Chi Kuo said that today. He said he was expecting it either this week or early next year, but he made it sound almost like it's one of those every 3 years Apple throws out a new iPod Touch that just has an updated processor for people who won't take anything but that. That's very much what it sounded like. And he said the panel quality might be worse, which would be weird as well.
See, that's weird. I would love that because I still have my iPad Mini is old enough that it feels slow, but there are so many times where it's exactly what I need, something that's bigger than my phone but smaller than even my iPad, something that I don't have to take a real laptop bag for. And I keep using it over and over again. And as someone who rides buses and subways a lot, I like to have something that I can do iPad style work on without when I'm on that bus or that train saying, "Hi everyone, here's me with my $1,300 512 gigabyte Slate computer."
Yeah.
Yes, you can run faster than me, so by all means, grab it while you're on your way out the door.
Well, I'm really interested to see what Apple does. They may have some real surprises, and there have been precious few leaks. The other thing, of course, everybody's going to be looking for is refreshed Macintosh. Renee, what's the chance for that?
Pardon me?
Refreshed Macintosh. Are we going to see MacBooks, MacBook Airs, Mac Minis?
The MacBook Air replacement.
Mac Mini is 4 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, all of that. All of that is Mac season, Leo.
Boy, that would be a very expensive Tuesday for me.
Everything but the Mac Pro and MacBook Pro.
Now, the Pro they could pre-announce because they're kind of implied to be out next year.
Yeah, but don't. I mean, their record with pre-announcing stuff lately. No, just keep it all secret until you're ready to actually put it in the store.
Yeah, you're right.
They're also creating very low expectations for timetable. They're creating high expectations for what they're going to release as a Mac Pro, low expectations for when you're going to expect it, which I think is all they can do right now, considering that they're essentially rebooting that entire platform. But it would be so exciting to get a new Mac Mini. I would be not only just to have this because I'm a huge fan of the Mac Mini. I think it's probably my favorite Macintosh today, but again, it's been shown so little love in the past 4 years that it's for people who are fans of the Macintosh, it almost feels like a sign that they don't care about the Macintosh particularly. So just for them to put some real effort into the Mac Mini, and I'm hoping not just we're putting modern silicon in there, but also we've decided to redesign it. We've decided to make it look as cool on your desktop as any other Mac does. Something like the Apple TV form factor, maybe scaled up just a little bit, a nice sleek black box with one white LED on it. That would show that there's still a lot of love for us click and mouse users.
It'd be a mini Pro kind of.
Please don't call anything a Pro. Anytime they put a Pro on something and it's not an iOS device, they ruin it. Okay, the iPad.
Here's a piece of weak information.
Mac Pro.
From the Pro Mac Pro. Yeah, Pro Mac Pro. From 9 to 5 Mac, a K through 12 education customer recently placed an order for a MacBook Air, iPad, and Apple Pencil. The iPad and Pencil shipped, but the school received an email saying the MacBook Air is delayed and will now ship on October 30th.
Oh,
is that?
They should have delayed. They should have delayed the Apple. Oh no, because the new Apple Pencil won't work with the 9.7-inch iPad.
But that's it. But that's when if they didn't have unless they have something that is. Sorry, rewind, playback. Wouldn't they have delayed it and then canceled it and offer them an ability to place that new order towards new hardware that they haven't seen yet? Unless they're expecting to release something that is identical to the MacBook Air just with upgraded internals. And I don't see them doing just an upgraded MacBook Air with new internals. I see them reinventing it at this point.
MacBook Air, Mac Mini, all three?
Yeah, and probably Coffee Lake bumps for the iMac as well, because we didn't get those yet.